Season 2, Episode 2, August 27th edition of Tiger Talk. This is our weekly Hattiesburg Tiger Coaches Show, live from Walk-On's Bistreaux and Bar here in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Tonight we're going to recap last week's tough loss to Petal. We're going to preview this week's Little Brown Jug game and just get Coach's overall thoughts. And we're going to even have this little guy up here with us for a little while just so everybody can see it. If you've been in Hattiesburg for the last 5 years or so, you've probably seen it because that's where it's lived. And we're going to try to keep it here for a 6, Coach. But
that's the goal.
What's that?
That's the goal.
That's the goal. That's the goal. We're happy to have you with us, whether you're here in the room. We've got some fantasy drafts going on back here. Or I'm going to set this on the floor for just a minute. When we start talking about it, we'll get it back up here. Got some fantasy drafts going on in here at Walk-Ons. We've got people eating, enjoying the food, and we're just happy to have you with us watching on Facebook Live. HattiesburgTigers.com are here with us, and we're gonna jump right into it, Coach. Happy to have you with us. Head coach of the Tigers, Tony Vance. We got our drinks delivered here. The Walk-On staff has been fantastic to us, getting us situated and getting us in the right spots, and even let us taste. Coach, you weren't here, but John and I got to taste the Krispy Kreme bread pudding.
You're about a year late. I tried it last year on grand opening, so
come on.
It's delicious.
It is delicious.
It is.
I didn't even know it was on the menu, and if you haven't tried it, you've got to come, even if it's just for that. Krispy Kreme bread pudding. It's fantastic.
Good. It is.
Well, I don't feel so bad now. I felt bad that Coach didn't get any, but now I don't because apparently he had some before I did. So, Coach, happy to have you with us again this week.
Glad to be back, man. Looking forward to tonight's show.
Well, first, what I want to do is kind of what we do every week. I want you to tell us a little bit about, we'll call it the state of the program. You tell us a little bit about what's going on outside of football right now. I know we talked a little bit last week. Has anything happened since then?
Actually, our varsity volleyball team's playing right now over at Oak Grove, so wish them the best of luck in that match. Our swim team competed yesterday, did a great job up in Laurel at the swim meet. So looking forward to the rest of our sports team. Our cross country will start running next week. So looking forward to them getting started and just off to an exciting start.
Now, where do they run cross country? Where do they do that kind of stuff?
Different places, normally up around the Pearl, Jackson area.
Okay.
Sometimes off in Louisiana, but most of the time up around Pearl, Jackson area is where they go.
They do that on like tracks through the woods, or they do that on a track, or what? How do they? I didn't run much in high school, Coach.
You know what? That's a great question. I must admit I've never been to a cross country meet, but I think there's like planned courses they run through. I don't think it's not on the track. It's like through. My imagination would tell me it's through.
That's kind of what I think too, and you've always told me that I can ask you anything I want. So so there you go. I stumped you on that one a little bit. We'll find out the answer. We'll talk about it next week after they get started up. Let's jump in, Coach. We'll talk about last week's game. We took a week 1 loss, tough loss to Petal. Petal's a good team, number 10 team in the state. We lost to them 38-15. Saw several positive things. Saw a few things that need to be worked on as the season goes on. Let's start with the not-so-good things, okay? So what did we learn from this first live action that we've got to work on, that we've got to improve on as the season goes on?
Everything. We've got to improve on every single thing. It's not one thing I can say, hey, we're as good as we need to be right there. But, I always tell our players and our coaches, it's never as good as you think.
Yep.
When you watch film, it's never as bad as you think. And going back watching film from last week's game, it's not as bad as you think. We were close on a lot of plays offensively. We were close on a lot of plays defensively. So it wasn't as bad as the score, up here. So we're not as far off as some would think. Certainly we got some improvement to do. We got some things to fix. But, there was a lot of positives, probably more positives than negatives to take away from that game, to be honest. Obviously we've got to get better in the kicking game.
Yeah.
That's a big part of football. And, something we've addressed yesterday in practice, today in practice, something that I expect us to be 100 times better at come Friday night. But a lot of positives to take away from it. Definitely, thought going back watching the film, we can play better. There's no question about that. So.
Yeah, special teams did hurt a little bit at times. I did think special teams, particularly the punt unit, got better as the game went on.
Yeah, I think got a little bit more comfortable there. But, you got a bunch of guys out there that, probably with the exception of one. That was their first time ever being on a punt team.
Guys and girls.
Yeah, you're right. Guys and girls.
Kendall's first time to punt, I guess, in a game. I haven't ever seen her punt in a game before.
That was first for her. So
first time for her to punt in a game, and you could tell she got a little more comfortable as it went on.
Yep.
And she had some people in her face those first few times.
Yeah, got hit a couple times. So, but that's part of it. And, you hate to put her in that situation, but – I told her on the sideline, if I didn't think you could do this, I wouldn't ask you to. But
and I don't think she'd have it any other way either, would she?
I agree.
She's as tough as any of those guys out there, I would imagine. So,
yes.
So a few things to work on, a few things to fix, and I know that you'll get those things straightened out, and got some time to work on those things. But let's flip over now to the positives. On the positive side, the very first thing you've got to talk about is wide receiver Ryan Briscoe. Briscoe. 67 rushing yards, 106 receiving yards, 67-yard run, and a 70-yard reception for touchdowns, both of those. He scored both touchdowns for the Tigers. He's just a lightning rod for this team. If we can get the ball in his hands, he can really be a lightning rod.
He can play, no doubt about it. He can pick them up and put them down. My old high school football coach said Joker can scoot. But he can run. So we've got to do a better job of making sure that he touches the ball and be creative about the ways we give him the football. So looking forward to, learning more about what he's capable of doing. Obviously, he's new to our program, and we're still learning some things about him. And, as time goes, he'll get better, and we'll do a better job of getting him the football, but also spreading it around to some other guys. Obviously, as time goes, people get film, and their game plan to take him away, so that'll open up some opportunities for some other guys. So we're looking forward to that.
And there are definitely other guys that you can do that with. You got Josh Jones out there, and you've got several other guys that are newer, kind of more inexperienced players. Mm-hmm. The thing about Ryan is he's new to this program, but he's a senior, and he's played at North Forest.
He's seasoned. He's probably been a 2 or 3 year start over there for them and did a great job, Coach Dillon and those guys. So we're excited to have him in our program. Yeah,
that's the difference between him and some of the other guys. So, but having him there to be able to do that and let some of those other guys adjust to game speed and that kind of stuff will be beneficial for the Tigers going forward. Overall, I mean, if you look at the score, it doesn't look that way, but I thought the defense actually played pretty well, especially in the first half.
Yeah, first half I thought we flew around, ran to the ball extremely well, tackled really well. And that was the thing that concerns you going into week one, how well will you tackle. Mm-hmm. We didn't have a lot of missed tackles the first half. Second half we started to tire a little bit, I felt like, and started to miss some tackles and not play as fast and with as much energy as we did the first half. But overall, I think we're going to be pretty good on defense when it's all said and done.
Also thought that both quarterbacks did certain things well. Mm-hmm. You had Willis and Powell both play some. Willis started. I thought they both did certain things well. I thought Willis ran that the Statue of Liberty type end around play perfectly.
Yeah,
I mean
did a great job.
He drew the Petal defense to the left side of the field. Yeah. There was nobody on the right side. I thought he did that perfectly.
I think I probably could have scored on that one.
I believe you could.
It was wide open. That's a play we run. We've ran several times in the past, and, like I said, executed to perfection.
He did. He kind of held the ball right there on his hip where nobody could see it, and Briscoe came around, grabbed it. And then I thought Powell was effective passing the ball. I thought he was able to kind of whip it around a little bit and get the offense moving that way. So I thought both quarterbacks did a good job. What did you see out of them?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think when you go back and watch film, you'll see some plays right there that, we're just a little bit off on a pass or maybe have a drop or – but when I go back and evaluate, hey, did you make the right read here? And most of the time, hey, you made the right read. Now we just got to do a better job of executing. And those things you look for with your quarterbacks are, do they fully understand what you're trying to do offensively? And, going back and evaluating the film. And I told Jordan when I saw him yesterday in film, I said, you think you played pretty bad, don't you? He said, yes, sir. I said, you'll watch this film, you're going to be surprised. You didn't play as bad as you think.
Right.
And you watch the film and, he didn't play as bad as you think. Obviously, he didn't play as well as he wanted to or we wanted him to, but he didn't play as bad as you would think when you go back and evaluate the film.
Well, there's a lot more to playing quarterback than just throwing the ball, right?
It is.
And so, like you talked about making reads and that kind of stuff, those are the kinds of things that you want to see. The execution part of it, the physical part of it, I feel like, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but that's the kind of stuff that you can work on as the season goes on.
No doubt.
You ease into the game and that kind of thing. But if he can make the reads, either one of them, him or Powell, if they can make the the reads, get the offense in the right spots, and know where they're going, the execution part will come.
The intangibles, the things that, kids are born with sometimes, the things that they have innate ability to do is what I really look at, both those guys possess some talents and some things that they do really well. So as the season goes, they build more chemistry with the offensive line, with the running backs, with the wideouts. I think we'll be fine. I do.
What did you see, speaking of the offensive line, what did you see out of those guys?
For a group of guys that, with the exception of one, their first time starting or first time, being together as a unit against a really good Petal defense, I thought they played okay. I did. Did they have some blown assignments? They did. But one thing, you go back and watch the film, you don't have to question was, did they give effort? Did they play hard? And, if guys doing that, we'll get better. And that's the thing that we harp on. Let's just play hard. Let's give it all you got. Let's leave it all on the field. And, I thought they did that for the most part.
Were there any other positives that we haven't talked about that you saw? We haven't talked about the defense a whole lot. Anybody that stood out over there?
I thought we started 4 guys in the secondary, 3 that never started or played a varsity football game before. I thought our 2 cornerbacks did an outstanding job, Cam Norman and we called him E-Man, but I thought they did a really good job. E-Man came up with the pick there on that sideline, which was an awesome play. I thought Cam did a great job of playing man coverage and, doing some things. And I thought both of those guys came with a ton of confidence after that game. And that's what you look for as a coach. Did these guys get better as the game went? And, yes, they did. Did they gain more confidence as the game grew on? And they did. I thought Walt Thompson did a great job for a guy that, it's his first time playing football since 9th grade. He came in, had some great pass breakups and did a great job coming up, making some tackles. So, those guys in secondary I was really pleased with, that was out there for the first time, some guys on the defensive line made some plays for us that, Cam Eccles, number 7, everybody's probably wondering who that kid was. He's a sophomore. He made a lot of tackles at the line of scrimmage.
He's a big kid.
Yeah, he is. Great kid to be around. Tomasio Robinson, we moved him from linebacker down to the defensive front, and he, I thought he came through and made some plays for us. So, same thing as offense. As those guys gel, get more chemistry amongst themselves, they're going to do a better job, and I think we'll be fine. I tell everybody to ask me, hey, don't push the panic button just yet. It's week 1, so.
I think you're right, too. I thought that the secondary really did improve as the game went on. You could tell that those guys settled in a little bit that had not played football at all or either not played in a long time. I thought they really settled in, did a good job. But we said it on the radio broadcast before we started, and it actually came to fruition in that first half. You needed your experienced guys on defense to make plays. Seth McGill, Tomasio, those guys to make some plays for you, to give the other guys, the more inexperienced guys, some time to get used to the speed, to get used to how things were going. And they did that for you. Your experienced guys, they stepped up, and they really made some plays there in the first half. And Did you feel like, because kind of a turning point for me, and this is just how it happens sometimes, or some strategy to it, but I kind of felt like the turning point was when they were able to kind of double up on you at halftime. They were able to score right there before and then right after, and that's tough to overcome when that happens.
Yeah, we missed the field goal right there that, didn't quite get the ball on the tee, and, so we missed the field goal, and, they go down and score right before half, and, of course, they get the ball to start the third quarter, and they were able to go in and capitalize and kind of take, momentum, and, it's tough when you're a young team and you're playing against a pretty experienced team, and they've got the big mo on their side. So, I thought for a minute there we kind of, we shook a little bit, and then we kind of got our composure and got back to playing football. So
yeah, and then you have the fluke plays. There was an onside kick that I don't even know if it was designed to be an onside kick. Yeah. It was kind of it wasn't a bouncer. It was kind of a high kick, and just fluke. You just couldn't get it, and they were able to get on it.
And, you got a guy in place right there, and just, you want him to make that play. And, as time goes, he'll get more experience.
Yeah.
Next time around, he'll make that play.
Catches that,
so it happens.
Yeah, it does. And I definitely wasn't calling him out. It's just I was just talking about the fluky nature of the onside kick and that kind of stuff. Just comes,
the ball bounced their way.
Yeah, not much you can do about that. And you're right. They are an experienced team. And, if you've got a guy out there that's inexperienced, head up with a guy that has some of that experience. Now, most of the time that experienced guy's going to win, and even if you've got more talent. That kind of stuff happens. But overall, I really thought that there was a lot to learn from and a lot learned in that game.
No doubt. And the one thing I say, our kids didn't quit. They didn't give up. And, that's one thing I tell them about. We're going to play hard, and we're going to play to the end, and we're not going to quit. We're going to continue to, put our best foot forward and, find the right set of guys to get out there on offense, defense, and special teams. And as the season goes, we'll get it all together. And, I feel good about what this team could be at the end.
Quite a few penalties. That's something y'all are working on this week. And a lot of it was – it's a lot of stuff that you do see in first games. It was a lot of first game stuff and stuff that you just got to fix before game 2. And that's how you know whether you're going to be okay or not. Is that stuff that y'all are working on right now?
Definitely. And some of it just mental. Some of it just not being focused and, the jumping off sides. There's no excuse for that. As long as they play football, you don't move to the ball moves. And that's just guys not being focused, not paying attention. And, some of it just antsy, just ready to, go. But, those things that, I think that, we address in practice with a few up downs or a little reminding that we can't move to the ball moves. And, hopefully we correct that. And we don't have much of that anymore.
Well, and it wasn't just you. Petal had the same issues. They had quite a few of those same issues. And been a few years since we started 0-1.
Yeah, so, I didn't realize that. I think somebody told me it's first time since 2016.
I didn't even look that far back. I just know that it's been a while.
Yeah, so, I didn't realize it myself.
The whole time that I've been doing radio for you guys, we've been 1-0 every time. So it's been a little while.
Yeah.
What do you tell your team, and then what's their attitude kind of been like coming back to practice?
Well, just tell them, you show them the film, you show them the mistakes, you show them the things that we were that close on executing, and, but our guys are upbeat. We've had a couple good days of practice. They're anxious. I could honestly say they got back to practice yesterday and ready to go to get better, and that's what you want. You want a group of guys come back hungry, ready to get better, realizing, okay, Coach, we've got to get better. What do we need to do? So they're doing those things, and that's all we can ask of them. And as a coach, you're excited about the opportunity to go out there and coach them every day when they have the attitude, hey, I want to get better, Coach. What do we got to do to fix this? We don't like losing. As coaches, those players don't like losing. So at the end of the day, everybody wants to win. So let's get out here and let's get better. Let's do what it takes to win.
Well, you're not used to losing, and even these kids that have some inexperience, they've been on these teams that have been 10-0 regular seasons and played for a state championship and that kind of stuff. So they're not used to losing either. So that's tough, and that's one of those things that you guys as coaches have to kind of walk them through and lead them through by example. And so I'm sure you guys are kind of keeping your heads up and staying upbeat.
No doubt. It's week 1, man. So. We're going to make sure that we address things we have to address and fix things we need to fix and get better at things that we did well. And I think that's what you have to do, and that's what we're going to do.
And you've always talked about, even when we were, winning big every week, you've always talked about 1-0 this week. And
that's it.
And that's the same thing that you say every pregame, every postgame, 1-0 this week. And so going into this Little Brown Jug game, looking to go 1-0 this week.
Yeah, and that's it. And I remind our guys after the game, that Hattiesburg's a proud program. Saturday night was the 1,000th football game in the history of Hattiesburg High School. So that's quite an accomplishment. I think maybe 2 other schools in the state of Mississippi have played 1,000 games. So proud program, rich on tradition, and it didn't get that way by guys that, quit or gave up when things didn't go the way. And I remind our teams of that. This is how we're going to have to do this. And guys before you have done it, and you'll do it also. So looking forward to getting out there this Friday, and seeing how much better we can be.
Yep, Jerome and I did mention that on the radio broadcast, and I had every intention of mentioning it today, so I'm glad you brought it up. But that was the 1,000th football game in the history of Hattiesburg Tigers or Hattiesburg High School program. And you're right, that is amazing. Probably not a whole lot of schools in the state that can say that. That's a lot of games, Coach. Last thing I did want to mention before we go to break, before we move on to this week's game, is you had several guys touch the ball, several running backs, those kind of things. You ended up +1 in the turnover category. So I thought you guys, for a first game of the season with a bunch of young, inexperienced guys, I thought you protected the ball really well. That's a big positive to come out of this game.
I agree. That's one of the things I pointed out to our team yesterday. Hey, we didn't turn it. We had that one on the kickoff. But other than that, we didn't throw it at them. We didn't lay it on the ground. And when you do that, you give yourself a chance to win. Now, obviously, we got to fix the penalty situation. But we didn't turn it over, and that's a great positive coming from week 1.
Yeah, to have as many guys touch the ball as you did and to not turn it over, that's a big accomplishment for the first game of the year. So what we're going to do now is John's got the highlight video from the Petal game last week. There were quite a few highlights. You'll see Ryan Briscoe on there a couple of times with his long plays. We're going to take a break right here. We're going to come back. We're going to get our little brown buddy back up here. It'll be 2 minutes. We're going to get our little buddy back up here, and we're going to talk about the 98th edition of the Little Brown Jug game. We'll be right back. We had a crew up here. Everybody was up here. We had Little Vance up here, Deuce. We had my radio partner over here, Jerome Brown. Y'all feel free to step back up here, show your face. We got Jerome sitting over here. I think you can probably see him on the camera. And Jerome Brown, the voice of the Tigers right here. And then Deuce is back there. He's a Tiger player, but he's also Coach Vance's son. So he's been around this program as long as Coach Vance has.
Over half his life.
Over half his life.
7 years, so he's only 12. So
absolutely right. Yep. Absolutely right. That's going to be your future star Tiger right there, I believe. Coach, let's move on to this game. Like we said, this is the 98th playing of the annual Little Brown Jug game, and I'll get the jug up here for just a second because I'm going to talk about records. So does this have last year's game score on it?
Yeah,
it does.
It's on there.
So the Tigers won last year's game 41-20. And we have won now 5 in a row. And the overall record, this is a rivalry that started in 1922.
Yeah.
The longest continuously played rivalry in
the first game. Yeah,
the
1922. There it is right there.
Who won that one?
Laurel won 12-9.
12-9, 1922. If any of you remember that, good for you.
Yeah.
So that was 98 years ago. Again, started in 1922, the longest consistently played rivalry game in the state. Mm-hmm. Even played during Katrina. After Katrina happened, they played it during the day because there was no power. But it was so important to everybody, to the communities, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So important to the communities that they felt like they needed to play the game. And so they did. And they played it during the day because there were no lights. It's just one of those things that means so much to both of these towns, separated by only a few miles, and it's just super important. But the overall record for this thing, Laurel leads it 47, 45, and 5. Okay? So we really closed the gap, winning 5 in a row, going all the way back to 2014. But we're 2 games away from tying it up.
We still got some work to do.
We're 2 games away from tying it up, Coach. We're going to try to make it 6 in a row this year.
Definitely. I mean, definitely. We have a lot of fun talking about this little jug. And the thing that's so amazing about this jug, now Jerome probably was looking at it a while ago trying to find, hey, that's my senior year right there.
Yeah.
people that graduate from Hattiesburg or Laurel, when they see us, they first thing they do is go find that year they graduated. Hey, we won it, and it's just instant memories. And so I explained that to our players this week, that how important this piece of memorabilia is to both communities, and just the importance of this game to both cities, city of Hattiesburg and the city of Laurel. And so we're looking forward to defending it.
The original Little Brown Jug was a little smaller than this, and I believe Coach Breland has it there in Laurel at their museum, right?
He does. I think they found it in Caretaker's attic.
Yeah.
And it's a smaller version of this, and Little Brown Jug of whiskey. And of course, the story goes they used to bet, ride the train back and forth from Hattiesburg to Laurel doing for the game, and one time they decided to bet a jug of whiskey, and thus was born the Little Brown Jug game. So
that's very high school like, betting a jug of whiskey on it. We're going to set this back over here. We've already had folks here taking pictures with it and pictures with Coach Vance, and just again, it's a big deal to the communities, and just talk about that real quick. What does this, and I know you have this conversation with 100 people every year this week of the season, but tell me what it means first to the cities that are involved. Where are you going with that?
He's not going far.
We know where he lives. First to the cities that were involved or that are involved, and then secondly to the players and the coaches that are involved in it every year.
I think it's a great responsibility for us as coaches. I speak for me and Coach Breland both. We realize the responsibility of representing our particular schools and our cities in the jug game, and we don't take it for granted. For our players, they understand that 5-10 years from now, they'll come back and they'll find that date, their senior year or junior year, on that jug, and they'll remember that game. And hey, did we win? I remember we winning. I remember us winning. I remember us losing it, whatever the case may be. But the significance of it is huge to both programs, both cities. And I hadn't seen the mayors go at it yet, but I'm sure that's coming. So Mayor McGee, get ready. I know Mayor Barker will be coming right back at you with something. So I always look forward to the mayors on news talking about the jug game. But it's just it's fun. You're talking about old-fashioned rivalry that's fun to be a part of. And I've been coaching 22 years now, and these last 7 years to be a part of the jug game has been special to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talked about the mayors. They usually have some kind of small wager that goes on, and all kinds of stuff. They really get involved. And I saw today a memory on Facebook from last year where they've got all the fire hydrants painted around Hattiesburg, different things. So they've got one painted like the Little Brown Jug, and Mayor Toby Barker was able to go on there last year and paint the score for the Tigers winning another one. So we're going to try to keep that thing here one more year, at least one more year,
at least.
Sixth in a row, and try to get this record at least evened up a little bit.
I told our freshmen yesterday in practice, if they would, if this team does their job for the next 2-3 years, they'll be the team that has a chance to flip that thing and give Hattiesburg the most W's in this series. So. But it's a challenge laid out there to those guys as freshmen, making sure they understand the responsibility they have as members of the Hattiesburg Tiger football team.
Yep. Yeah, we got an audience question. What you got, Jerome?
The 2015 game. That's the comeback game. Miracle between the bricks.
Well, I was looking at the score right there. Tell me what the score was. 34-32 Tigers.
Yeah, never forget it. We're down 32-6 with 3 minutes and 52 seconds left in the game, and
32-6. With just to recap, 32-6 with 3 minutes and 52 seconds.
52 seconds left, and I look down outside line toward the scoreboard end, and I see our former athletic director, Dr. Cheyenne Trussell. He walks down and he's got the jug in his hand, and I look and I was like, ain't no way we can let the jug go back over there, man. And he was making preparation to take it back across the field, at 32-6. And I just remember something came over me, man. I was like, we're finna win this game, guys. We're finna win this game, man. We're not finna lose the jug. And I think that time it was just really hit me, man. We can't lose this game. And, man,
now, this was in Laurel?
This was in Laurel, known as the Miracle Between the Bricks, I guess they call it now. But we end up scoring. We throw it, Julian Connor throw it in the end zone to Jordan Murphy. We kick it onside. We get it. We score again within 2-3 plays. We kick another one onside. They get it. We stop them. They have to punt. We partially block the punt. We get it. We throw another one in the end zone for a touchdown to Murphy. kick it onside again. They get it back, and they run it, and we hit the running back. He fumbles, and we get it, and we throw it in the end zone again. And next thing you know, it's 34-32. And, everybody that went out left the game early. It was on the way back to Hattiesburg, and they started hearing the noise. And I think they tried to come back, and I don't think they would let them back in the game. And so I think a lot of people learned that I'm not going to leave the game early.
Yeah.
And so, but definitely one of those great games in the long storied rival between Hattiesburg and Laurel.
Well, and that's one that people will talk about.
Yeah,
They'll go back and look for that 2015 on that jug, and they'll say, I remember that
game.
Yeah,
yeah, that was it, 2015. Miracle between the bricks.
Miracle between the bricks. Now, Jerome, were you calling that game? Jerome, that was the year I started radio, but I started like halfway through the season or so I missed that one. But, man, I wish I wouldn't have. That sounds like it was a fantastic time. Oh, yeah, Jerome was quitting on him already. He was done. He was like, just give it up.
Yeah, but, I think that game right there was one of the games when I look back at where our program is now, and I think back to that 2015 game and those guys not quitting, those guys not giving up, and that was one of the games I think that helped propel our program to where it is now. And so I always be thankful for that game. 2015, Miracle Between the Bricks.
Miracle Between the Bricks. You won't ever forget that one.
No.
So we were supposed to have Laurel head coach Todd Breland here with us, and he had agreed to come on.
Yeah.
He agreed last year when we were doing this show.
Sure did.
Said that he would come on, and he ended up having an open house tonight, so he wasn't able to make it. So we'll just pick on him while he's not
now,
here.
If he's not at open house, I'm going to find out.
You're going to find out. I got you. Talk about, he's been here. Has he been at Laurel as long as you've been here?
He's been there a little longer than I've been here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk about y'all's relationship. I know that he was one of the first guys you talked to when you came on here, and I know you guys talk quite a bit, and you guys have a pretty good relationship. Talk about that.
When I took this job, he was the first coach in South Mississippi that called me and said, hey, congratulations on your hire. Welcome. I'm Coach Breland. I didn't know Coach Breland, and he called, introduced himself, told me who he was, and told me about the jug game. He said, we'll be playing for the jug, and he started trying to tell me the importance of it, and I didn't quite get it. I just didn't. I was like, okay.
Y'all didn't have games like that in Charleston?
No. Yeah, we had a rivalry, but trust me, it wasn't like the jug game. We played in Charleston, and still plays West Tallahatchie, which is cross-county rivalry, but I don't think it's been much of a rivalry. I think Charleston won probably 30 years in a row or more, so haven't been much of a rivalry. Shout out to my folks in Charleston.
So you had something to do with that, didn't
you? Yeah. So we won ours when we were there, but nothing like the little brown jug. So we played for the Golden Egg. So it's the Egg Bowl there in Charleston. But this is special. Be a part of the jug game, the history behind it, between it, and not to downplay the Egg Bowl between Charleston and West Tally, but like I said, when Charleston's won last probably 30 plus years, it ain't been much of a rivalry. But this game, nobody ever knows how this game gonna go. You can come in expecting to be a high-scoring game, and it may be 12-8. You come in expecting defenses to shine, and it allowed to be a shootout. You just never know. So that's the excitement about the jug game. You just never know what to expect. You can throw both teams' records out the window. If I'm not mistaken, in 2015, we may have been the only team to beat Laurel. They won the state championship that year.
They ended up beating us in the playoffs that year, I believe.
Yeah. So you just when you play a jug game, you throw out, you never know what's going to happen, man.
You and Coach Breland end up doing this time of year every year, doing 2 or 3 different interviews together.
Yeah.
Y'all ever talk any trash?
Oh, all the time.
All the time.
So he knows that, the only time they're going to see the jug is, probably pregame. So he better tell his guys, go over there and take a look at it.
He can look across the sideline and see
that'll be it, So, but no, it's all fun, man, and Coach Breland's a great friend of mine. We talk all the time. We do. So he keeps telling me he's going to bring me up there and let me go deer hunting with him, but I'm waiting.
Well, it's those promises. Kind of like he said he was going to come to our show tonight,
but
he didn't come.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've known Coach Breland most of my life. I was around during his first stint at Laurel. So I've known him. He's a good guy.
Great guy. Does a great job, man. Runs a great program. I have a tremendous amount of respect for him. I do. So, but good friend of mine. And like I say, he's one of the first guys to call when I took this job, man. And made me feel welcome. He did. So I really appreciate that, Coach Breland.
Let's talk about the game. Laurel came back. Laurel scored 15 fourth-quarter points last week to squeak out a win against Poplarville, 21-14. They had to do some soul searching there in that game too. And they're like us. They're somewhat young, somewhat inexperienced. We were talking about that before we went on air. But they do return some experience at quarterback. Number 10, Xavier Evans. He was unquestionably what made them go last week. 117 rushing yards, 128 passing yards, a rushing touchdown, and a passing touchdown.
And that's impressive. But let me tell you what impressed me the most about that young man last week. And I just people that have been around me know I say you got to have a winner at quarterback. And one of his teammates got hurt last week. It was third down, and they threw the ball and it fell incomplete. And I may have been a running back. I'm not sure. And he physically picked the kid up and told the kid off the field to the sideline. The quarterback did.
Wow.
And I looked, and that was one of the most impressive things I had seen from a high school kid in a long time. I mean, he picked him up and told him off the field. And I lost, man, they've got a winner at quarterback.
Yeah.
So very impressed with that young man. And
that's leadership.
It is.
And
that's leadership at its finest. And that's a guy that cares about his teammates.
Absolutely.
So I thought that was, he was impressive to watch play, but that probably impressed me more than anything last week.
That's awesome. And those are the kinds of things that coaches see that when you and I go to a game, we don't really notice. But coaches notice those types of things. And, leadership ability and that kind of stuff is a big thing. And
that's probably the reason those kids play so hard for him, too.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So y'all went to that game last week, right?
We did. We
took the
Friday,
team down there.
The coaching staff went. A few of our players
didn't
didn't show up. But, it was a fun game to watch. I told Coach Breland congratulations after the game. They were fun to watch. You could see some inexperience and youth in some places, but it certainly wasn't that quarterback. So got a great guy. They're leading their team at quarterback, and I think, Coach Breland would agree with me. So goes Zay, so goes the Laurel Tornadoes.
Mm-hmm. Well, and they lost some guys, kind of like we did. Lost Zeiss Perriman at running back, who was a 1,200-yard rusher last year. Lost some receivers, that kind of stuff. But like I said, Evans was pretty much what made him run last week. How do we attack those guys on defense?
Well, I think defensively, we got to stop him. We can't let him beat us.
Yep.
We can't let that guy, and he's the guy for them. So we can't let him beat us. We got to try to figure out a way to contain him. I don't think you stop him. He's too good of a player to just say completely stop him. But I think you got to contain him and minimize the damage that he can do to you with his legs and with his arms. So, our defense is going to have a challenge, no doubt about it. Offensively, they're fast. They got guys that can run. So, definitely be a challenge for our defense. Defensively, when you look out there, you won't see a lot of big guys. You're going to see a lot of guys that are small, that can run, and they fly to the football. So I watch them play, man, and, you think you got a, big gaping hole, and all of a sudden it closes because of the speed they have on defense. So, we're going to try to find some things that work. And, as the old Green Bay Packer coach said, we're going to have to matriculate the ball down the field.
Matriculate the ball, yep.
Try to get some first downs, man, and, just trying to find some things that work offensively and put the ball in the end zone.
It'll be a little bit different offense that they see with us than they saw last week at Poplarville,
totally different. So
Poplarville one's that wing tee offense. Did they throw any passes?
They threw a few.
They
threw a few, but they're really good and efficient at what they do offensively, and they had their hands full with them.
We're going to look a little bit different than that, hopefully. They're fairly young. You mentioned the defense.
Just to let you know, we will be in the wing tee this week, Coach Breland, so y'all can start preparing for the wing tee.
I thought we weren't going to tell him that.
Well, I decided to share it with him so he can start preparing for it.
Since he didn't show up, you got to watch now to see what we're going to do on offense next week or this week. You mentioned the defense. They're fairly young on defense, too. They've got a few seniors over there, but they did a good job last week of taking the ball away, it looked like, from the stats. But and we mentioned earlier that we did a good job of protecting the football. So that's going to be two forces there going against each other. How do we move the ball on them?
I think we got to try to, pick and choose, what we do when we do it. I think that, obviously we got to be able to run the football, but we also got to be able to pass the football. So, I think we just got to kind of have a solid game plan and kind of see what, it's going to kind of be like a boxing match and see what the counter punch they're going to throw and kind of counter their counter, So it'll be interesting to see. We're both a little bit different teams than we've been in the past. And I think last couple of years they knew exactly what we were going to do offensively and with Snoop Connor. And, I think last couple of years we knew exactly what they was going to do with Zay and the Ormer kid at quarterback and even Taekwon and Big John and all those guys. So this year I think both offenses are totally different than we've been in the past, so to speak. But, we're both, still searching for that true identity. Yeah.
It's two programs that have been very similar over the years. We talk about the Tigers a lot, graduating a lot of seniors, having quite a few seniors playing college football. Laurel the same way.
Yeah.
They've got quite a few guys. You just named some.
Yeah.
That's playing college football right now. Guys that have been Dandy Dozens, guys that have been played in that Miss Al game, Mississippi Alabama All-Star game. So very similar programs on very similar trajectories. And you guys, you and Coach Breland both have done a great job with the kids and that kind of stuff. And I know that's probably not going to fall off anytime soon as long as you guys are there.
Our kids really get along well with their kids, man. And it's always fun to watch them compete against each other, man. And when the game's over, shake hands and wish each other well the rest of the year. And, hope we'll see you again. It's always one of those deals. So, I expect nothing less than that come Friday night. We'll have fun and we'll leave it out on the field, man, and we'll leave there and we'll, laugh and we'll be better because we played a team like Laurel, I guarantee you.
Last thing I want to ask you, Coach, I grew up around that stadium. I played there a couple of times, and for me, there's always a different feel in there. It's a different kind of stadium. It's unique. There's not anywhere that I've ever been like it.
Those bricks are hot, man.
They are hot. So is it different for you guys? Is it kind of a different feel, or is it just another game for y'all?
It's somebody asked that question earlier in the week. Just does home field advantage matter when you're playing in Hattiesburg or when you're playing in Laurel? And I think when both teams are evenly matched, and it's nip and tuck, it's not that big of a deal. When both teams are evenly matched and Big Mo swings, it's a huge deal. So Big Mo's always important in that game, man. Who can get the momentum going their way early or late is going to pretty much kind of determine the outcome of that game.
Yeah. We are really going to need you guys between the bricks. It's Friday night this week. Normally we play it on Saturdays. You want to explain why we're not playing on Saturday?
Once we released our schedule, Southern Miss schedule was released after hours, so they're playing Alcorn this Saturday. So, in an attempt not to affect anybody's crowd, theirs or ours, we moved our games to a Friday. So people that wanted to catch both could,
Couldn't get them to move theirs?
No, couldn't, man. Afraid not.
It's Friday, this Friday night between the bricks in Laurel High School, 7 o'clock, tickets $7. Come out. It's not far, and it's always an awesome atmosphere there, an awesome experience. They bring big crowds. We usually bring a big crowd. It gets loud in there. Not only is it hot between the bricks, but it's loud between the bricks. And I'm telling you, it's one of the better atmospheres that you're going to come across in high school football in the state of Mississippi.
Definitely.
And just come out, experience it, have a good time. We need you there. Cheer these guys on. We do want to say Booster Club applications are $20, $30 with a T-shirt. Also want to look up here. I should have already had this pulled up, but I want to mention the sponsors, City of Hattiesburg, Forest County Board of Supervisors, Forest General Hospital, The First, the National Banking Association, Clyde Bryant State Farm Insurance, The First Bank, Coca-Cola, Ab Payne and Associates, and obviously Walk-On's Bistreaux and Bar here. They've been good to us. We really enjoy being here. This is a great setup, great atmosphere for us. You hear people in the background. Last week we had 2 or 3 birthday parties. There's a couple of different fantasy drafts going on here tonight. Plus they've got Krispy Kreme bread pudding. So definitely come out, give these guys a shot if you haven't been here already. I want to thank everybody. I want to tell you, if you can't be at the game, you can listen to us on 92.7 The Score. Also, there's going to be a link. The WMXI app is not functional at the moment. There's going to be a link to where you can stream the radio broadcast. John's going to put that, assume in the comments on the Facebook Live. Yeah, on the Facebook Live show down there. So there's a link. You can click that on your phone, on your computer, be able to stream the audio. You can also watch the game. Any glitches that we had last week, John has assured me that we're going to have worked out. I'm just kidding. He hasn't assured me anything. No, nobody was more frustrated than John. So we're going to get that worked out, I promise. It's a work in progress. HattiesburgTigers.com or on this very Facebook page right here, Hattiesburg High School Athletics Facebook page. You can live stream with the audio there. of the game. That's all the places you can watch or listen. But the best place to be is between the bricks.
No doubt.
Come out. I want to invite you to come out every week, Tuesday nights at 7 here, live at Walk-Ons. We're going to have these shows all year. Coach, I haven't even asked you, do you want to do one next week or you want to take next week off? I'll put you on the spot.
We're open next week, so we don't
Right.
have an opponent, so we're guaranteed to win.
Yeah.
So
We'll let you know.
That's for sure.
We'll let you know. We will post it on the Facebook page. I meant to ask Coach that earlier, and I didn't ask him. But we'll let you know. We'll post it on there. But we'll definitely be back the next week when we do have a game for sure, right here at Walk-Ons Bistreaux and Bar. Any final thoughts?
No, just looking forward to this week's game. I want to thank our fans for coming out last week, supporting us, and definitely looking forward to you guys taking that trip up to Laurel Friday night and between the bricks and supporting these Tigers. And I guarantee those guys hard work this week to put a better product on the field this week than we did last week.
Absolutely. 1-0 this week. Thanks, Coach Vance. Thanks, John Arnder, our technical guru. Thanks, Jerome and Deuce and my family and Coach Vance's family, everybody for showing up tonight. Y'all be back. Come back with us next week. And for all of us, good night.
Go Tigers.